Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. I'm Sean Burke. Joining me is Andy Taylor, Nick Elliott, and a very special guest. He's a multiple Premier League winner, a Champions League winner, our former France international, and got to play for one of the Premier League's greatest ever teams, Arsenal, and also Man United. It's Mikael Silvestre. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Coming up on this week's show,
there's a smile contest between N'Golo Kante and Saka.
Yeah.
If there is not an harmony, a very good team spirit, it's not going to happen on the pitch. The more you play with better players, the easier it's on you, for sure. I've experienced it myself. Like, he doesn't want to give up, so I think time doesn't have an effect on him.
We are through to the knockout stage of the Euros, and this is where things get really exciting. Most excitingly, England face their old enemy, Germany. It's important for me to specify when you mention England's old enemy because it doesn't really narrow it down. We will be previewing that fixture with Mikael in a bonus video on this channel. But right now, I'd like to know, Mikael, who's been your standout team of the Euros so far?
For me, it's Italy. I know their group wasn't the strongest, but still 9 points and performances, solid performances, team effort, team discipline. They're very compact. So I think for me, and also I think it's also a surprise because we haven't seen them at the last tournament, and I wasn't watching Italy. So yeah, it's for me it's a good surprise.
Mikael, you know that Mancini is the manager of Italy, and he's obviously a pretty successful club manager. Do you think that's an advantage to managers on the international scene if they've had a successful club career? Are they kind of two really different managerial roles, club and international? Is it hard to do one from the other?
No, I think the day-to-day is different, but in terms of management, pure football and managing a group of 23, 26 for this Euro, it's the same. Yeah, having this experience at the club level, having these track records definitely help for sure. And also being having played at that level, Mancini also helps for sure.
What do you think about the idea that Italy have peaked too soon? Because you hear quite a lot of people talk about tournaments, about how you have to, you don't want to fly out the box too early because Italy and England are the only two teams that haven't conceded, but obviously where England have hardly, we've scored 2 goals, Italy have scored loads and have averaged like the most shots and everything. But is it just people being a bit too sort of clever for themselves, saying, oh, Italy have peaked too soon? Is that just a way of kind of deflecting from the fact that they're by far and away the best team? Or is there something in that? Do you actually think it's wise to save your better performances? Is that a thing that actually happens, or do you just want to play the best all the time?
No, I think first of all, we say that we are impressed by the first 3 games. We're not saying that this team necessarily will win it. In terms of peaking, yeah, for sure. We've seen teams, especially France, not doing well. 98, can't remember exactly 2000 how we did. But then cruising to the final. Even in 2018 in Russia, it's not like we were a dominant force and we were not. Surely we're not amongst the favorites. Italy is not among the favorites, even if they qualified early. It's a team that will be consistent until the end because that's the way they are, that's the way they train, that's the way they prepare, and that's the mentality. You can see this is a well-oiled machine, and with luck, they can go all the way.
Does the French media put as much pressure on the national team as, say, the English media would? Would you, when you were playing, did you notice a lot of scrutiny or a lot of pressure, or would you say it's different?
I don't know. I can't compare what the English players are facing and going through. The thing is maybe that in France, you have only one special newspaper, which is L'Équipe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The rest of the newspapers, the rest of the press, written press, doesn't spend so many pages on what France is doing, what the players are having for breakfast, and what the girlfriends are wearing. So it's I think it's easier on the French players. Although now with social media and growing platform of it's not only one It's not just the BBC and TF1 in France. There's so many cameras, so many photographers. So I think it's grown, even for the French players. But overall, I think England looks like it's probably the biggest pressure of all the nations.
I watched the game last night, and Paul Pogba was pulling the strings in there. He was just playing some outrageous through balls. I don't know whether you agree with the statement, but why does he generally play a lot better for France? Or at least he feels a lot more comfortable in a French shirt. I don't know whether you agree with that. Is there any reasoning behind? Is it because he's got kind of Kante alongside him and that Kante maybe allows him to do more things? Is that one of the reasons?
The more you play with better players, the easier it's on you, for sure. I've experienced it myself. I think for Paul, it's the consistency that hasn't been there for him when he was playing for United, when he's playing for United. So that's the only question mark for me. Can he repeat that Wednesday, Sunday, or whatever, Tuesday, Saturday?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. At the moment, he hasn't. I don't have the answer to that. Why is that? I think he's trying. Also, he's at the period where he was injured. He's a big lad, he needs to be on top physical form to move around and does what he does. But the thing is, he's raising the bar so high. An average game for Paul is not going to look good. And that's not easy to repeat game after game. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's an element of also when you play for France, there's this French camaraderie and it looks like he's playing more with a smile on his face. Also, maybe there is the element of physicality. International level, there's a little bit less intensity, less pressure on you. And the Premier League is a crazy high tempo. It helps every player who are technically gifted and they have to make the difference. They've got to provide assists, create chances. The less pressure you have, the more time you have on the ball, and you're going to be more effective. So I think it's a combination of all these things,
Outside of the French team, and we talked about your standout team so far in the tournament, are there any players specifically you've really liked the look of so far in the tournament?
Yeah, Lukaku's been continuing on the same tempo as he was with Inter, keep scoring, and that's what you want from your goal scorer, England.
Yeah.
If we had Lukaku, if Kane was playing like Lukaku, I'd probably be sort of already celebrating through the streets.
Yeah, but the media's been so hard on Lukaku and see where he is now. So
is it a little frustrating that Man United didn't give him the loyalty or the confidence in him? Because
I think he's the type of guy that needs love.
Yeah,
not tough love and being appreciated. So you need to recognize these type of players. They are different from the other ones. When you have a manager and you say, this manager is treating everybody the same. Yes, but the but is very important. You have to know your players. Yeah, it's just unlucky. It happens in football. Many players move and they are different players. Returning to your question, I think Jorginho for me as well has been impressive for Italy. He's really the engine and he's pulling the strings. That's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Andy, who's been your standout player?
In my actual dream team, I've stayed loyal to Ronaldo. A lot of people didn't actually want to look at Portugal because they probably viewed them as the poorest of the big three sides in that group, France and Germany. Basically never write off Ronaldo because he's scoring goals. He's got a record now, is it, for major tournaments? Again, it's just scary when, I think he's like 7 years older than me, and then he takes his top off after the game, and it just makes me look at myself and, because he was next to Mbappe, who's in pretty good shape as well, and he was making Mbappe look like he needs to get back in the gym as well, wasn't he? So it's just scary.
Mikael, we've got to ask you about your time playing in tournaments. This was almost a video previewing England versus France, but as you know, the way the matches went last night, it changed drastically over the space of 90 minutes. But I believe you played against England in Euros 2004 and actually beat them there. Was that odd playing against people you play with, club football wise in England, and then suddenly going international and facing the players you play with week in, week out?
Yeah, no, it was strange. It was really strange, and we knew England was a good team, good players. So for me, it was, I knew the threat. That's why when Wayne went on to this run, I wasn't surprised, but he caught Lilian Thuram by surprise.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it was Gerrard, Lampard, Beckham, Scholes, Rooney, Owen, Ferdinand, Terry, Joe Cole.
Yeah.
I think Danny Mills was right back.
I think people forget how good Rooney was, don't they? Because I think there's been quite a few highlights of him from that tournament kind of been dug out recently. Mm-hmm. I think it might be just because he's kind of had a slower end to his career, and he maybe, he went to the Championship and he ended things there, and he didn't quite end on the high that probably his career deserved. I mean, he was just incredible. I remember when he went to United, and I think he scored a hat-trick in the Champions League, didn't he, very early on?
Yeah, first game.
Debut, yeah.
First game hat-trick. He certainly was a special player, world class, and capable of producing wonders, beating people, scoring goals. I mean, he had everything from day one, which is very rare. Obviously, he was super fast and strong, and his maturity, decision making. You come to United, you're in competition with Ruud van Nistelrooy, and there's pressure on your shoulder, but didn't mind, always produce, and he was defending as well for the team, like Griezmann is doing for France. Yeah, and I think people will appreciate, especially now if you compare just with Harry. I don't want to put him down, but you see what Wayne was doing for Man United and then for the national team.
Yeah,
I mean, breaking Bobby Charlton record was just amazing.
In my lifetime, it's probably the best team that I've ever seen from England. As you say, we've had to play Scholes out left that game, which is crazy. One of the best holding midfielders probably the game's ever seen. But we always struggled against teams like yourself. Was there a particular negative about the English side that you targeted, when your team talked before? Was there something that you thought that we wouldn't be good at? Like why couldn't we get it done against the bigger sides like yourself, Germany?
The toughest part with the national team is that you have to produce performances when really you don't train with the guys. You know them, but you don't know them. And suddenly for 90 minutes, you have to look like a team, defend together, attack together, transition together. And it's difficult. And I think at that time, there was so much, I wouldn't say hate, but clearly the difference between the United players and the Liverpool players and the Chelsea players. Obviously, they were proud and happy to represent England, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe the media played a big part in that, but they were not playing like one. That's compared to us.
So, for instance, if you turned up at the French camp on day one and you saw Patrick Vieira, would you just go up to him, say hello, you'd be friends straight off? There'd be nothing like that in the French camp then?
Yeah, for sure. It's completely different. Yeah, I remember meeting and playing Arsenal, trashing them 6-1 at Old Trafford. Nice. And then playing together, I think straight after a few days, and we would speak about the game and laugh about it. I think the team spirit within the French camp is always good. If there is not an harmony, a very good team spirit, it's not going to happen on the pitch.
It's not often we have a guest, so we've got to use this opportunity to get some genuine football knowledge on this show for a change. Mikael, you had a stellar career, both club and international, and played with some of the greatest players in the Premier League, one of whom, Cristiano Ronaldo, we were just talking about, is still playing today in this very tournament. Could you see that potential on the training ground when you played with him at Man United?
Yeah, I think after a few months, I told him, you're gonna be challenging for the Ballon d'Or very soon.
Wow.
Because he's obviously his talent, but then it was more about his work ethic, obsessed with improving every day, every aspect, physically, technically, mentally. He's done everything that was possible. He used every tools, talked to a lot of people every day. The challenge was to practice and improve his skills. With that obsession, I'm not surprised to see him still here. And he doesn't want to give up. So I think time doesn't have an effect on him.
Mikael, what was he like as a person? Around the place, was he? You assume looking at him that he's quite a confident guy, quite a bubbly character. I mean, I don't know. What was he like on day one of the training ground? Was he loud? Was he easy to get on with? What was he like personally?
Yeah, it took a bit of time for him to get to speak English. So at the beginning, conversation were limited. There was Carlos Queiroz who was helping him with the translation, and he got to speak to. There was Quinton Fortune, who spoke Spanish or Spanish-Portuguese, quite similar. So he was close to him. Then Eric Jamba came and was very close to Eric. So it was a lot of fun in the dressing room and traveling and all these hours all together. So he's someone who's bubbly in the squad, and now he's got that different. He came into a different dimension, captain, leader, world star. Yeah, he was a bit shy, but then he grew into a goal-scoring machine for us. It was good to see him grow, because he came as almost a teenager. He left United. He was Ballon d'Or. Amazing.
Yeah. You never saw him drinking any Coca-Cola on the training ground?
No Pepsi, no Coca-Cola.
Just agua
all the way. Yeah. I'm curious to ask you as well, Mikael, because you played under Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. How do you compare those two managers? How different were their styles in the dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, different characters, different nationalities, background, sense of humor, different type of management. So the list goes on and on and on, I mean, in terms of differences. So I just go into the similarities. It is easier for me. Extremely passionate about the game of football. Not only the club of Arsenal or the club of Manchester United, but football in general. General knowledge of football, amazing. You go into a quiz, memories, who scored in that game, FA Cup replay, blah, blah, blah. These guys know. It's fascinating, because you would think that they've got so much on their plate about preparing the team for the next game, dealing with the staff. I mean, the entire staff, because in England, when you're a manager, you're responsible also for the academy, the recruitment. And still they were capable of watching French football, Scottish football, obviously. Like, these guys never sleep, because they come at the training round first in, last to leave. It's amazing. So the work ethic, the passion about the game, and the understanding of high-level football, professionalism, and they were able to evolve and to make Arsenal and United bigger clubs. They brought those clubs into a different dimension.
Since you were there, those clubs have changed quite a bit now, and I've been an Arsenal fan throughout all of this, throughout everything that's happened, through Wenger's departure and whatnot, and obviously they're in a very different place right now. I mean, Arsenal seem to be kind of in a transitional period right now, wallowing in mid-table. This summer, if they were to recruit some players, what kind of positions do you think they need to strengthen?
So centre-back, because David Luiz has left, and maybe a number 8 as well. So the spine, really, right back position, Bellerin goes, and this is it. Otherwise, you have some talented players: Saka, Martinelli, Smith-Rowe. The squad is good level. You need to improve those areas, and also they need to have a good start, because last year was terrible.
Just on, you mentioned Saka. Why do you think that Gareth Southgate loves Saka so much? You know, say he's choosing him over, say, Jadon Sancho. Do you reckon it's, you know, what he brings off the pitch as well in terms of his attitude, his work rate? What is it so good about Saka?
What I like so much is his vertical player. You know, as soon as he's got the ball, his first intention is to go forward with it. Those players are much needed, and England need him to make a difference. They've got talented offensive players, England. Don't get me wrong, but Saka has done it for Arsenal, and he's got the trust of the manager now. There's a smile contest between N'Golo Kante and Saka.
Yeah. It's pretty
nice guys.
I think our guest is suitably warmed up and ready for our Name That Squad challenge. Mikael, in front of me, I have the names of the France squad from Euro 2004. I need you to name as many of these players as possible in 90 seconds. Is that something you're up to?
Okay.
All right, the time starts now.
So Barthez, Coupé, Rame, Sagnol, Gallas, Thuram, Desailly, et Silvestre, Candela, non. Makelele, Dacour, Vieira. After Thierry Henry, Trezeguet, Zidane, Miku, no. Govou, Loyundula, Eric Carrière, d'accord, I said already. God, this is a disaster.
And former United player in there as well. He used to play up
Louis
front.
Saha. Louis Saha, yeah.
An Arsenal one as well.
Pires, Will Todd. Of course, the Gunners.
20 seconds.
That was a good question, this one. Djibril Cissé, no? No, wasn't there. Okay.
And that is time. That is 90 seconds. Let me just collate my answers with our producer. Oh, you said Govou, didn't you?
Govou, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give that because he replaced Ludovic Giuli actually. So that's an extra one there. Rotin, did you say Jerome Rotin?
Jerome Rotin.
Yeah.
I thought you did say. Did you not?
No.
Oh, okay. I've tried to give you an extra answer.
He's an honest man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, according to my calculations, you got 16 names out of a possible 22. But are you happy with that? 16 names out of 22?
Yes.
Yeah. It's tough when you're put on the spot like that, isn't it? Yeah. Anyone's you feel bad for missing?
No.
You got all your mates in. Well, that's all from us, folks. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. And don't forget to tune in to our bonus episode, also featuring Mikael Silvestre, where we will be previewing the England versus Germany game. Thanks again, Mikael, for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
Everyone else, we will see you there in the bonus video. Take care.